Hello and welcome to the Re-TRAC Connect OWMA Facility Reporting Training video. My name is Carla Bergstrom and I work with Emerge Knowledge Design, the developers of Re-TRAC Connect. Re-TRAC Connect is an online reporting tool used by OWMA to better quantify waste management activities in Ontario. The software offers streamlined data collection, allowing organizations like OWMA to communicate directly with their members and take advantage of powerful analytical reports and tools used to reduce errors as well as standardized data collection. This ensures the information that OWMA is gathering is relevant to the organizations and members within the OWMA. So today the training video is going to cover logging into Re-TRAC Connect. So if you are a new user or a returning user, we'll show you how to access Re-TRAC. We're going to show you how to set up your account and do some general navigations within Re-TRAC Connect. I'll show you how to access the OWMA reporting program as well as all the forms and surveys within the program. We'll talk a little bit about saving your work, completing the forms, and how to access some program-specific support, as well as how to access Re-TRAC Connect technical support. So first things first, I'll show you the login page for Re-TRAC Connect. So here on the top, you'll see the URL. It's connect.re-trac.com/login. That's how you get to the login page. If you're brand new to Re-TRAC Connect, then when your account was created by your OWMA program manager, you would have been sent a link from Re-TRAC Connect to activate your account. So that email would have a link in it. You would click on that link, activate your account. The activation process will require you to set up a password for your account, and then it's going to take you to this login page where you log in. So you only need to do that account activation step once. After that, you just continue coming here and logging in. Now, for the purpose of the training today, I'm going to be using a demo account with just some demo data. So I'm just going to get that open. I think it might be right behind here. Just one second, I got to find it. Okay. There you go. So I'm just using a demo account, and I'm just using a training account for the purpose here of logging in. So I'm just putting in my email for my training user here, clicking next, putting in my password. A couple notes here about when you're entering passwords for Re-TRAC Connect. Minimum of 8 characters for the password. There's no requirements as far as numbers, symbols, or anything like that. It can be whatever you want. Minimum of 8 characters. The passwords do not expire, so you're never going to have to reset it. If you want, I'll show you when we log in how you can reset your own password, but otherwise that'll be your password for as long as you want it to be. You can click this box to keep you logged in, of course, and this will keep you logged in for up to 7 days. So that's an option there if you're going to be going in here quite regularly. There's some links at the bottom of the login page here if you want to find out more about the Re-TRAC Connect terms of use. Privacy policies are also there as well. And if you ever forget your password or you get to this point, you keep getting incorrect password, you can click on this forgot password link. That's going to send you an email with a link in it to reset your password. So that's how you can reset your own password if you need. So the person that I'm using here, the name of the reporter, I just called reporter. Otherwise, that you would see your first name here. So that would be your first name. And this is the Re-TRAC Connect homepage. So on the homepage, I'll just show you some basic navigation here. Along the top of the home page, so up here, you can always return back to home. So if ever you're kind of in the system navigating and you kind of want to just return back to this main page, just go ahead and click the home button here. Over to the right, if you want to see what other programs are offered within Re-TRAC Connect, you can click the Find Programs button and take a look at other programs that might be available to you. There's a support option here. If you click on that, this will take you to our knowledge base where there's various articles, how to navigate, set your password, change your password. So just short articles here about Re-TRAC Connect. And at the bottom, there's an option for contacting the OWMA support for Re-TRAC or the technical support. If you're getting error messages or issues with the system, then you can log in here. If you have, you can log a ticket here. If you have questions about the reporting process itself, so something about the forms within OWMA, you have questions about how to enter the data into the forms, then you can reach out directly to the OWMA support team here. So those are just a couple of options for support. To the right of that, there's notifications. So sometimes in here you might see if there's been an update or a planned outage that's being planned or something like that. You'll see notifications. Otherwise, you're going to see your name over on the top right corner. So right now, the name of this person is called Reporter OWMA. I can edit my user at any time. If I want to change my name, I can just go ahead and change that. If you ever want to update your email address, you can do that here. If you do update your email address in this screen, please make sure to use that new email as your login. So your email address is used for your login for Re-TRAC Connect. So if you change your email, just make sure to update your login when you're entering your name or entering your email. So clicking Save will update that. There is an option here to change your password. So as I mentioned, passwords in Re-TRAC do not expire, so you can keep it as long as you like, but some people do like to change it from time to time. So you can put your current password in, and then you can put in your new password and then confirm it and click Save. And that will be your new password going forward. Also off your name here, there's a message center. So sometimes messages might get sent to you from the OWMA program managers. They would be sent to you via email, but they'd also be available to you in here. Export center is available to you for exporting documents that you may have uploaded in here. Or of course, you can just log out of Re-TRAC using that. I'm going to go back to home now. At the bottom of the screen, you're always going to have links here to our terms of use and privacy policies. So those are available to you throughout the system. All right, so now if we want to go ahead and start reporting to OWMA, what we're going to see is the OWMA box or tile here. When you click on it, it's going to take you to your members page. Now, right now, I only have one member. I am going to show you how to add more members. So say, for example, your organization manages multiple landfills, or maybe there's landfills and organics processors. They're all at different facilities. So in OWMA, think of a member as an individual reporting facility. It's got an address, it has a function. This one particularly is a landfill. If you also have another, say, transfer station, it's a different location, managed by different people, then that would be another member. So a user or a reporting entity might be reporting for multiple facilities in here. It just depends on how you're set up. Now, if you do have multiple facilities in here, it's really nice to be able to search for a facility. So instead of scrolling down a long list, you can just type in the names, or at any time, if you want, you can export a list of all your facilities using the export option to the right. Now, I'll show you how to add a member in a few minutes. I'm just going to talk a little bit about how to report for a single member, and then we'll go ahead and add a member. So when you're ready to report, you're going to click on the actual members tile right here, this main tile. There is an option if you ever need to edit your member. So I'm going to go there. Edit member allows you to change the name of your member. So say you want to put the city's name in here, or your organization's name, something like that. You can update the name. Maybe the contact information. So I had Joe, maybe it's changed to someone else now. Someone new's taken over for Joe. So I need to update the contact info for the facility. So this is the facility specific contact information. There's a phone number you can enter and a website and all that kind of details. So this often would be different than the user information. Like I'm a user, I'm entering data for a facility, and this is the facility's contact info, not the user's facility. Then of course you have the address information here, and you can click and save that information as you've edited it. Just going to go back to members. So now let's go ahead and go into the members page. I'll show you how to enter in data for a single member. So right now when I go in, what I'm in is the members workspace. So I see the name of the member. So if this is the landfill that I'm entering data for, this is the workspace for this landfill. The landfill, the workspace will always default to showing you the most recent forms, or what we call active forms. So it's showing me the 2021 forms. We're always going to be entering data into Re-TRAC from the previous year. So it's 2022 now. So that's why it's asking me to enter data for 2021. And you'll notice there's 4 different forms here that you could use. The first one is a confidentiality provision. So that is called a one-time only. You only have to fill that out once. Whereas these ones are annual, which means every year you could enter in data, because measurements and tonnage and all those types of things might change from year to year. So if you are a landfill, there is the landfill report. And you can go ahead and click on the new button to start filling that out. If you also operate an organics program at your landfill, then you could use or fill out the organics report. Or if your landfill has a processing or transfer station, you can use that. So some facilities might have multiple reports to enter. Some might just have one. It just depends on what your facilities do. Each survey has a status. So the status of new means that it's never been opened, nothing's been entered, it's never been saved. It's brand new, and you can go ahead and fill it out. If you fill out a form and you start filling it out, and then maybe you just have to save it and move on to something else, something happens, whatever, you get sidetracked, you can save it in a draft status. So we're going to see a draft form here shortly. And then, of course, once you're all done filling out the form, you can mark it as complete. When it's complete, it's locked. So at that point, you're not able to edit it anymore. And at that point, the OWMA program managers are notified, and they can then review and verify your data. So we'll talk about the different statuses as we go through filling out these forms today. Just want to highlight here over to the right of the workspace, there is an area called Program Instructions. So here's just some information about the OWMA Data Initiative, really seeking to better quantify waste management activities in the province and assist with infrastructure development, resource planning, management, and benchmarking. The information is pivotal to better understand the economic, environmental, and policy issues facing Ontario businesses, citizens, and government agencies. So there's a confidentiality statement here you can have a look at if you need help. So if you're filling out this form and you need some help and you want to discuss how to best respond to the data or the questions in the form, there's an email address and a phone number there for you. And of course, there's a note here relating to reporting facility data. So please report separate facility reports for individual facilities. Don't aggregate data. So again, if you're managing multiple facilities, we want you to enter it per facility. So if you do have multiple facilities, we're going to go back to the members page and you can add more facilities. And again, I'll show you that as we finish up this entry here. So at any time, you can click on those instructions and get that information. The workspace, as I mentioned, is showing you always the active. If you have already been participating in Re-TRAC Connect, say, for example, you've been participating for a number of years, you can click on the year ranges here, and it'll show you all of the forms that you have filled out over the years. So you can go to 2015 from when the organics and landfill report was started and see all of those. So that's just a way to look back at historical data if you ever want to. Now, when you're ready to fill out a form, you just click on the new button. This is the confidentiality statement. So definitely you'll want to read this carefully, make sure you agree, and by checking this box, the only thing you have to do is check the box here stating that you understand the above and click Save. When you click Save, you have two options. You can save it as a draft, which means you're going to come back later and edit it. Sometimes if it's a larger form that has a lot of entry points, you might save as a draft and then come back later and complete it. Or if you are done, then we're just going to go ahead and mark it as complete and go confirm. This will take us back to the workspace, and now you're going to see this one-time only confidentiality provision is completed. Moving on, if we want to now enter in data for the landfill report, then we can go ahead and click on the new button here, and that's going to take us to the landfill report. So there's some instructions at the top. It's divided into sections, this particular report. And it's just stating here that we're always collecting data for the previous year. So we're looking at entering numbers for 2021. And sometimes there might be links and stuff built into the form. So if you want to find a whole list of waste type definitions, you can click here. And I think it opened it up. It just downloaded it here for me. So this is from the OWMA, all their different waste type definitions. So there's resources that are built within the form here if you want. You're also going to notice that some of the data is already filled in for you. So this is coming from how your member was set up, how I created the account. Sometimes the registered facility name might be different than the actual facility name. So you can enter in that number or that registered facility name there. You can enter in your phone number here. You'll notice the formatting. So if you tried to enter, well, this is their preferred formatting. So we're going to go whatever. Like that. Email address for the facility. This is coming from the facility contact information, facility's website, as well as facility ownership. Just want to point out some of the questions have an asterisk beside them, some of them don't. Questions that have an asterisk are required fields, which means you are not able to save this form unless you enter something in here. So I'm going to say this is a public landfill or private. You can only pick one. Scrolling down, who is the owner of the site? So maybe it's the city of whatever. And who's the operator of the site? So who runs it? That could be the city as well. The year that it opened. I'm just going to say 2000. And moving down, so these fields here, these are all required. It's going to want to know your environmental compliance number. So whatever, put your number in there. If you have more than one, you can use the add button. and enter multiple. There you go. Person completing the form, so this would be you. You're going to put your information in there, your name, your title, the company that you're working for. Maybe you're working for the city. Maybe you have a phone number. Again, we're going to follow that formatting. And an email address. There we go. Got some information here regarding vital statistics. And this is the next section here, vital statistics. And then there's the compact rate reference table. So if you need to do any conversions, you can use that. Your approved facility capacity, it wants to know in tons, but you can also enter it in cubic meters if needed. So I'm just going to say that's my capacity. And then it's just asking a whole bunch of different questions you can say yes or no to. Sometimes you might see words in here that are red and underlined, and this will just prompt you. If you just hover over it, it'll just prompt with a bit of text. And sometimes when you answer questions, then other questions will appear. So if I were to say that this site does not have an annual fill rate, I can just move on. But if I say I do, then it wants to know what my annual fill rate is. And again, I've got those conversions here if needed. I'll just say no. And is there a maximum, an annual maximum fill rate for specific materials? So again, if I say yes, there's might be more than one material. So maybe it's a specific material, so you can put in the material, the amount, and the tons. And again, you can add as many materials here as you need or remove. If there's a daily fill rate, yes. And then again, you can put that in or a no. The area in hectares, the total site area. So this is the waste fill area or the footprint. And then the total site area. Your operational status. So you can say it's active, inactive, or closed. Here's some definitions. Sometimes you'll see those definitions built right into the form like this to differentiate what inactive and closed and active are. And here's your annual measurements. So the amount received, again, you've got your conversions if needed. And we would just put in numbers there. Describe the methodology used to determine the amount received. So maybe it's using scales or a ticketing system, or maybe you have multiple ways of tracking that. You can select as many as you need there. Check all that apply. And then does your facility track total waste received and disposed by material type? So if you say yes, then here's where you can look at the various materials that are collected and enter the amounts, again, with those conversions in here. If you don't do this, then you'll just be asked for your remaining capacity. And this is a text field here. Instead of sort of numeric fields here where you need to enter a number, here's a text field. You can just type in what your methodology is. And I believe it's a 2,000 character limit. The second section is related to optional or additional information. It is optional, but so none of these fields are required, but this might be information that you know related to environmental features of your facility, scrolling down the facility use and access. So how it's designed, how it's lined. Is it open to the public? Yes or no. Does it have seasonal operating hours? And then here you can select the season. So in winter, you can say, open on certain days from this time to that time. And then you can say, spring or summer, open on these days. So you can add in as many options in here. Or if it's the same hours all year long, then you can say on Monday, we're open at 7 a.m. and we close at 5 p.m. Sorry, there we go. And then on Tuesday, put all the days of the week. You maybe have different hours on the weekend, and you can put in your opening hours. And here's a list of materials. You can select as many as you need here of the approved waste types for disposal. And if you need any definitions on these waste types, you can just hover over at the bottom and it describes each one of them. If you have any waste bans, so maybe you don't accept certain materials, then you can check those off. And if you have any geographical area descriptions, it'll ask you to describe that. So maybe you don't accept materials from outside a certain jurisdiction or something like that. The last section is related to the financials here. So whether you have financial assurance, yes or no, how much is it? You have any host agreements? Yes, you can enter in the details of those host agreements or say no. And any other municipal regulatory agreements. So you can describe those. And last thing is what you pay for property taxes. So at this point, I'm going to save this form. I haven't completed everything. I've left a few things out intentionally because I want you to see what happens if you save this without completing all of the required information. So it's telling me my report is completed with 3 errors. So the errors are really fields that are required that I didn't enter. So if you use the top option, find and fix errors, and click confirm, it's going to take you to the spots that need to be entered. So it highlights them in red. It's no longer just a little asterisk. It's actually like lighting them up red. And if I scroll down, I can see this was also required. So I'm just going to change that. Enter something there. I don't even know what, enter that there. And then I'm going to resave my form. So now, instead of saying, hey, you had errors, now it's saying, ooh, nice work, I'm done. I could still save it as a draft. Like maybe I have entered all the required data, but maybe I just needed to confirm a couple things. Maybe I'm not really ready to mark it as complete. So if you want, you can still save it as a draft. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to show you what happens. So now it's saved. You can go back in and edit it later. I can go back to the workspace and you're going to see that that landfill report is now in draft status. So my 1 completed, my 1 draft, and I still have 2 that haven't been started yet. So if I ever want to go back and complete the draft form, I can click on the draft button. And now I can go ahead and make any changes I might need to this draft form. When I get to the bottom here, I can save it and mark it as complete. So marking this survey as complete locks this form. I won't be able to edit or change anything in the form once I mark it as complete. So I'm going to confirm. And so now I'm going to see on my workspace, I have 2 completed forms, the confidentiality provision and the landfill report. And if I open the landfill report, you're going to notice all of these fields are grayed out and there's no more save button. So I can't change anything in here. So if you have saved a form and marked it complete, and then you realize, oh no, I need to make an edit, that's when you'll want to be reaching out to your program team at OWMA, and they can change the status of this form back to draft. So up here on the top right corner, you can send a message directly to the OWMA team, and they'll be able to then update the form and put it back to draft so you can make the required changes. So as I mentioned, there's different forms depending on your facility. So if you if you also operated an organics component in your facility, or you have a transfer station, a processing transfer form to fill out, then you can click on here. The forms are going to be very similar in nature. You're going to see data that's automatically filled in. You're going to see the required fields, of course. Might ask you slightly different information. The transfer form, transfer station wants to know more about, the destination of materials and that type of thing. So you might get slightly different questions, but the process to enter it is the same. When you click save, you can save it as a draft or mark it as complete. And then at the end, anytime you can go back to your workstation. So I just want to mention here, there is an option here at the top for analytics. If you ever want to see your landfill trend report, you can click here and print that. So if you've reported to the OWMA for multiple years, you can see that. You can pick up to 5 years here. So this is just comparing your trend. So this is really only available if you've reported for more than 1 year. But just wanted you to see that there is a option here for analytics as well. Now let's go back to the workspace. So basically that's how we enter the data. And yeah, so when you log into your account, please feel free to explore the different tabs that you see here. One last thing I want to show you is how to add another member. So I just went back to the home page, clicking on OWMA tile. Now here's your members page. So perhaps you manage more than one facility, like more than one physical location. You can click the add member button, and you can add, or normally you would be creating a new member unless it already exists, but this would be very rare. Most of the time you're going to be adding a new facility. So click on create new, put in the facility type. So maybe you have an organics processor and it's whatever. And you can type in the name. So this is the contact person at the facility. So this is the person to contact at the facility. Again, you can put the phone number and the address. Here you can type in the address if you know it, or you can use the map. I don't really have an address to use as an example, so I'm just going to just randomly pick somewhere in Ontario. Guess maybe I need to be outside of the lake. So many lakes in Ontario. Here, let's go there. So I just pick an address here. And click join. Now, when you click join, oh, it can't be geolocated. I'm sorry. I kind of picked a completely random address. So it really wants to know something more specific. So let's go somewhere in Sudbury. At least we can pick a real address here. There we go. Obviously, you would know your address. And then click join. So now when I go back to the home page and I go back to OWMA, now you're going to see the organics facility that I just entered, as well as the landfill. And they're two different addresses. And they might have two, one's an organics processor and one's a landfill. So in this case, if I'm going to go in here, then I would do the confidentiality provision. So I could mark that off and click save, mark that complete. And then I would go to enter the organics facility information, which I don't see, but it's probably because I didn't create my account correctly. So I would want to get that adjusted. If that happens, you can always reach out to the OWMA team or the Re-TRAC technical support team. We can help you with that and assign that organics form. So if you're in here and you don't see the form that applies to you, definitely reach out to us and we can fix that for you quite quickly. So I'm going to go back here to the members page. So yeah, so as you're going through, please feel free to click around the different tabs and look at other programs and different tools to help your organization. As we know, the better data you have, better decision making that you can do. Responsible waste management is a critical part of creating a more sustainable world, and the ability to track and analyze what we're doing in our waste programs is the very first step. So your participation in the OWMA program is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. As the program progresses, you might see more analytical reports that are being created, as well as additional forms that might get added. And so you can reach out to your program manager to communicate about that directly, again, through that program support right here. So thank you so much for joining today, and yeah, good luck with your reporting.